today. So, thank you all for joining us nice and promptly on time. Today's session is all about management and business reporting. I'm your host today. My name is Alison, and online with me we have Will, one of our lovely trainers here who works across Inspect Real Estate and Console, and we also have Tash here to help out. Now, before we do get started with today's content, just your usual housekeeping, we expect a lot of people to pop in, pop out, join us, leave us. That is A-OK. We are recording today's session. Within 24 hours, you'll see that session within the help side section and webinars in IRE. And rather than an upcoming, it will be a historical or an on-demand webinar for you to review. If you have any questions as we go today, just throw them into the chat box. You might see a little comment there from me about the webinar. That's where you'll pop in any questions. Tash and Will help out with any answers for you. Okay, so in today's session, we are really looking at performance and reporting. So it's nice and simple. We're going to look at performance and reporting. We're going to look at the management reports, and we're also going to look at how you can monitor what people are doing in the system, and how you can interpret those reports to help you get more out of your business. Now, some of the things we look at today are permission restricted. So for our diamond users, some of them are for everyone in general. We are also going to be looking at reporting over some of our core products. So we're going to start with our BDM reporting. We're then going to have a little look at our lettings and application reporting. So a few different ones there to consider. As we go, it's also important to note that reporting is just as important as if you are a leasing agent, if you're a BDM, if you're a property manager, if you're a team leader, or if you own the business. What these reports tell you will be dependent on what you're hoping to get out of it, whether how well am I doing managing my leasing on my properties currently available, how well am I doing managing my leads, who's giving me the most business, or whether it's which BDM in the business is most successful, where am I bringing in the most revenue, how am I growing my rent roll, or how much rent have I potentially lost through not managing leasing correctly. So a few things there to go out. I'll check in on the chat every so often, call out any questions that are being asked. And with that, we will get started. So just jumping straight into Inspect Real Estate. Now we are going to get started with our BDM reports today. So you're going to see us down in the reports menu quite a bit. So down here under reports, and we're going to come to IRE BDM reports. Now, what we're going to start with is we're going to start with our follow-up reports. So the follow-up report is really a great way to see the status of any leads and manage follow-ups. It's a good tool if you are a BDM, just keeping on track of what you're doing, or if you do need to see what your BDMs are doing, this is also going to give you that overview. Now, from the start here, we're going to have some similarities around our reporting. First thing we might see is that whenever you've got this little view report, that's when you can just straight away click on it, view the report as is. You'll then also see, and generally you'll see across most of our reports, some basic send options. So if I wanted to send a team member report to the BDM, I could just select that, hit send report now. It will pop to the BDM. I can CC some people, and this is who it's coming from. Full office report. So across all of the BDMs, I can pop in who I need to send it to, can send it to multiple emails, and just hit send report now. So a few things you'll find quite consistent as we go through our reports. Now, I'm going to hit view report. And just up the top, you'll see it provides a nice high-level overview of what's happening with my leads. So I can see straight away I've got a lead today that's due follow-up. And I can see the overdue status as well. So overdue for less than 7, overdue for more than 7. I can see how much work is coming up, as well as how many leads don't have a follow-up date. So straight away, this is going to give you that insight of, okay, so how are my team going? I can see over here, the majority of our leads, and hopefully you'll have more than I do, are sitting in overdue for more than 7 days. Great. This is my time to go and have a look at what my BDMs are doing. Now, it could be as simple as they're just not managing their follow ups effectively in the system. Perhaps we need some training. Perhaps we need a process reset. Or it could be that they're not actually chasing these leads at all. And you know what it's like in a competitive market? If you're not chasing, Joe Blogg's real estate down the road will be chasing for you. If we look at what's coming up, we can also see the balance of what they're going to do in the next week and what's coming after that. So this is a little bit about their pipeline. Now, underneath, we do have a breakdown so I can see which BDM is related to the lead. I can click through and access the lead. So if I was a BDM using this report, this is a really great way for me to go, oh no, I've missed all of these leads. If I click on the lead, it's going to open up that lead, and then I can update the lead as appropriate. I can go, right, no, I did talk to this person. I need to update that follow-up. They wanted to hear from me in July. So it's a really good tool regardless of where you sit in the business. And as you go down, you can see more breakdowns. Now, closing that off there, if I did want to add a report setting for sending, what I can do is I can set that recurring send out. So let's say I wanted to send it every day, but perhaps just every Monday. I want to send it at 9 a.m. and I want to send the full office report to my friends in Agent Box Realty. Simply adding that in and then hit save. Now, that's going to send out for me. I'm going to be able to review it every Monday in our 10 a.m. stand up with the property management or the BDM team. We can start talking to this. And I can add multiple settings. If I don't want it to send anymore, getting a little crazy, I'll just hit remove. Nice and easy. Occasionally on our reports as well, you will see a little settings side here. This generally just controls what you're able to see. So in this case, for example, if I wanted to group it by office, I could deselect that. And I can choose whether I see things like referrers. So nice and easy to slightly adjust what I see in this report. Okay, so that's report one. Let's keep walking through. Now, the other one we want to have a look at here is the contact report. Now, the contact report is designed to show how many leads are being contacted and how they're being contacted, so email, phone call, etc. And then the result of that. So this is one of those reports where you might be able to have some really good coaching conversations out of it. Or if I'm a BDM, I might be able to sit here and go, right, these are my most effective contact methods. So I'm just going to hit view report up the top here, but you'll notice those same things. We do have the option to send the report and add automated report sendings. So view report, here we go. Now, not going to see much in this database. It is a training database, but right at the top, we can see any contact sessions that have been run, and we can see any manual contacts. Now, it's a really good tool here because, like I said, I'm going to be able to see how many calls I've done, how many emails, how many text messages I've been sent, and what the results are for that. So if I was looking, for example, at my BDM's tools and my BDM's performance, I might be able to see, okay, well, she's made 50 calls and 20 emails. Of that, 60% are not interested or not proceeding. 30% sit in callback, but only 2% have a meeting booked. So this is something that I can prompt to then go, right, talk me through your spiel. Tell me what you say when you pick up the phone. How are you opening up the conversation? How are you trying to get next steps? So a really good tool to start those coaching conversations. Now you do have the daily, the weekly, and the monthly, so you can break these down a little bit further. Now I'm on to the next report here. So hopefully this is a report that a lot of people are used to or have seen, but this is the boss report. And we call it the boss report because it is the big boy report of any of our products. So it's designed to show the performance here. So if I was looking at the health of my department, now I'm just going to click on view report here again. I can see a breakdown of what's happening across the business and by BDM. And this is a good tool for benchmarking. So if I'm benchmarking Marcus against Natasha, I'll be able to see, okay, well, Tash isn't doing anything. Let's pick up Yolanda here. Yolanda has less leads than Marcus. So obviously Marcus is doing some more work generating them. But Marcus does seem to have a fair amount overdue. So this is where I go, all right, Marcus, let's get you reset. Let's look at how you're managing your day to day. As we scroll down these key performance indicators as well, these are where you'd start to look at, okay, what's coming into the business and who's performing the strongest in here. So in terms of new managements, really great tool, as well as in terms of how we are getting our business in. So is it new leads from portals? Is it referrers that we're getting them in? Or is it manually adding them in? So are we cold calling and then manually adding them in? So really good to see where my business is coming from, not just from a BDM performance, but from a how am I getting my leads into the business? And then I can also see what's happened in the last 7 days and how many status changes have been made. So really good tool. Again, really good to have automated. So if you were to send this out to you every week or every month, just depends on what your meeting cadences are like. So nice, easy tool there. And again, just adding in report settings if you wanted to set up that automation. Okay, just having a little look at the chat here. Seems to be fairly comfortable and fairly quiet. So no news is good news. So I'll just keep walking through here. Now, we're going to pop over to the monthly report. Now, the monthly report, this is a really good tool because it's designed to show key information on how the office has performed over a particular month. So as I look here, this is just where I can send my report now, or I can add another automated report. And if I looked at the previous office reports, this is where I'll be able to see and generate those performance reports historically. So I can flip between different years, I can view each report, and I can also export to Excel. So if I wanted to manipulate the data in any way, if I wanted to look at it myself, do any pivot charts, that would be a nice, easy way to do it. So popping in, gonna have a look at a report here. Now, again, not seeing the greatest of data, but what you will see, and if you do this in your account, which I would highly recommend, it's a really nice formatted report. It's got dashboard widgets, it has a summary, and it has source information. So pulling this out, print it out, hand it out to your team, hand it out to your leadership team, give it to your principal. Really good tool for seeing month on month what's my performance. I think we're saying performance a fair amount here. So I'm just going to pop across, just really quickly talk to the referrer report. So the referrer report is designed to show what's happening by referrer. So how many leads are being referred by referrers, and also the status and the quality of the leads. So if you have a really large referrer network, if you have incentive programs in place, this is how you can track that and look at the quality of what you're doing. If you're spending a lot of money with certain referrers, certain referral businesses, you're not seeing the results from that, that might be where you look at how you apply your financial little incentives. If you are seeing that you're getting a lot of business from a particular area, perhaps from your sales team, perhaps from local area marketing, this is where you can then leverage that business. And that's where you can start to go, right, we're getting a lot of links from our website. Great, let's put a bit more campaign around that. If you're not getting anything from any of your referrers, then you might need to relook at that. And here's a great little graph down the bottom. So, for example, Angelina, she's referred one this month, only 2 year to date, and none of them have converted. So, Angelina not sending the highest quality leads, but at least sending a few across. So, nice little one to have a look at there too. And the last one I'll point out, this one is really good for our principals. This is the commission report. So Not going to work in my system because we don't have commission. But this one is where we can have a look at, all right, so across the office, how much commission have we got per BDM? And we can look at it over a monthly period. So nice, good one there for us to have a look at the earnings as well as commission applied to each BDM. Okay, so just a quick recap, IRE BDM, we went through a few quick reports there. So our follow-up report up the top, this is where we had a look at how you could then set up an automated send. So if I hit add another report setting, I can select the date, I can select the time, I can select if it's sent to our BDMs individually, or if it's sent to the office report, I should say, is sent to a particular email address. And that email can just be popped in here, doesn't need to be a user in the system. Again, this is a report that's really great for seeing the status of leads, seeing how well they're being followed up, and having a drill down into which BDM is doing it. If you are a BDM, a good one as well to click through and manage any leads that have outstanding follow-ups on there. We have our contact report. So this one is good to see how many leads are being contacted, how they're being contacted, and the success rate of that contact. Again, looking at that from a how do we have great conversations? How do we track what our BDMs are doing? If I'm getting a lot of success from SMS, I should be using SMS. If I'm getting a lot of success from phone calls or a lot of connects from phone calls, how can I convert those into meetings? The boss report, the big one, KPI information, informs your decisions, informs your leadership, keeps you on the pulse. And then your monthly report, which I'll challenge everyone to go and generate, really clear, very well presented performance statistics. And then our referrer, where are we getting our business from? And commission, what our BDMs are bringing in. Now, that's as simple as it is, but we are going to pop across to lettings and applications next. So in lettings, I'm just going to call out the daily schedule report. Now, the majority of you will probably see the daily schedule report already. By default, anyone who is assigned as an inspector usually gets the daily schedule report sent to them automatically. This allows them to keep in touch with what have I got on my day, how many inspections have I got, where am I going. Now, I'm just going to show you what this looks like because it is a good tool. Because so if you don't have it set up to automatically send, definitely have a look at this and set it up. So for the schedule report, you can select date range. So today, tomorrow, today plus 14 days. I'm going to throw today plus 14 days. But if you're just wanting to do this day by day, particularly if you're using tools like the Ideal Week, you might want to just have it for today. You can select who it sends to and from, how it's reported on as well. So if you wanted to break it down by inspectors, I'd just prioritize inspectors. And then you could hit send or let's hit view. Now, really simple, if I was looking at this in my email, it would tell me, great, so today, living in the past a bit, 10 a.m., I have an inspection in Concord. These are my keys. This is who is inspecting. This is the assigned team. And if there are any attendees registered. Scrolling down, I can see the next one. I can see what I have on tomorrow. And I can keep going on and on. So really great tool for keeping track of your day to day and should be set up by default for your inspectors. Now, just down the bottom here, adding report settings. This is where you can select that automation. So if I wanted to send it every day, I want to send it, let's be nice and early, 6 a.m. So I know if I need to hit the road. I just want to send it for today. I'm going to just prioritize the day and I'm going to send it to my inspector over here. But I could also send it to the leasing agent. I could send it to the PM. And I can also select what to show. So maybe we'll put on the keys, we'll put any inspection notes, and we'll pop on the assigned team. Once that's done, I'll hit save, and then that's going to start sending out. So really good tool keeping everyone on top of their day-to-day. Now, popping across here, I am going to touch briefly on the on-off list report. So I'm really hoping this isn't a surprise for people. I'm hoping that when I say, yep, you need to be doing your on list, off list, I'm going to get a lot of very good nods. But a really good thing just to check is if your team are actioning the off list properly. Now, if they are not actioning the off list property, we're not going to get that really clear leasing information. We're not going to get on versus off. We're not going to get days on the market accurate. We might not be closing the door on our currently available properties. So making sure we follow up with our team so we can see here we've got quite a few sitting in our off vacancy list. They need to be coming through and making sure they action them as part of their process to remove a listing from market. Now, really good tool just to check on what's happening. Now, coming across, not going to come across touch on all of these reports, but I am going to look at our vacancy history. Now, the vacancy history report provides an overview of your currently listed properties. I've got it filtered to listed, or I can look at all properties over a certain period of time by applying some filters. Now, this is a really great report to review with your leasing team. So if you've got one leasing agent, if you've got your PMs doing your leasing, really good to print off and review in a team meeting, walking through what properties are currently on the market, looking at the pricing, looking at the available date. Can also do an audit here. You can see there's a fair amount of information. Looking at days listed. So if we've got anything on the market for a long period of time, I hope you don't like we do because this is generally from an incorrect process. And also looking at lost rent here. So really key for our landlords, really key for looking at how successfully are our leasing team getting our properties on and then promptly off the market, because as we all know, lost rent is lost income. Now, if I was also looking at my all, so those that are not currently listed, I'd also be able to look at my off list information too. So really good report to review, good to talk through with your leasing team whilst we're in our little meetings, and also good to look at that lost rent because lost rent is lost revenue, so we don't want to have that creeping up. And again, just a call out, if you are not in Inspect Real Estate day to day, really great thing to do is come in and optimize your views. So if I'm looking at this column chooser, I might not want to look at my early bird information. I might not want to look at my off list. I might not need access notes or property information. I might really just be key looking at those dates and that pricing and that lost rent. And that's going to remove this endless scroll if I optimize my views. Okay, so next one, let's have a look at our office reports. So I'm going to pop across to office reports. Office reports, again, we've got some performance snapshots and we do have our boss report. So your boss report, this is your diagnosis of what's happening in your leasing business. And just like our other reports, you might notice we are fairly interactive in our reports. You can click on things. Can edit included data, or I can just hit view report. Now, coming down, I can see here it's grouped by property manager, can change that up the top. And I can look at those reports where I require a follow-up. So let's have a look here. Not registered inspection times still available. Yep, we have one here. We have one not assigned. We do have something flagged here. We have a tenant where they can't register an inquiry because times are no longer available. We also have properties with no inspection times available. So having a look here, these 5 properties, all right, need to have a chat with Marcus. Have we leased them already? Do we need to schedule inspections so tenants can register into them? Or are they just looking at other options? Properties with no future inspections, again, clicking on it can see the details of which property manager, which property. And we can see where our properties are. So if we're looking at these listings, why has this been on market for more than 15, 30, 60 days? What do we need to do to get that leased quicker? Properties with no property manager assigned, really easy, might just be a data entry issue, but we can get that fixed real quickly. And a really good one as well. So if we've got a lot of vacant properties, if we're struggling to lease a property, which does happen occasionally, we can also break it down and go, all right, so these properties have been vacant for 60 days. Have we reviewed the pricing? Have we discussed it with the landlord that we need to bring the rent down slightly? Can see here these 4 properties. We can see the rent that's currently at, and we can have a look at what that reduction might look like. So if it was 5% reduced, 10% reduced. So it's giving us not just insight, but a little bit of intelligence on it too. And then we can also see what's happened in the last 7 days. Down the bottom, we have our KPIs. So love a good KPI, love to have a look at what it's telling me. Now, it's telling me straight away, we've got a really big red one here. They haven't received any email inquiries. Now, that is a training database foible. You guys shouldn't see that, but it is nice that we get to see that big red. Hang on a minute, we've got something wrong here. We have got a new business property on the on list, so we can see that here. And we also have a number of early birds and break lease properties available to review here. As we scroll down, we can also see what's happening in the next 7 days and what's happening in the last 7 days quite clearly. So, really heavy report, really good to look at things interactive, good to be able to click through and follow up, good to provide some basic insight as well. Why have we not reviewed the pricing? Why have we not reviewed the rent if we're struggling? And good to also see those KPIs there too. So, nice big report, very good to review. And again, we can also set up those automations if we choose to. All right, so last report before I show you some user activity is just in applications and then applications. So, application report, just really beneficial for checking up on the status of your applications and looking at if your leasing department or your applications team are processing those applications. So, whether that happens with your property managers, whether that happens with your leasing agent, whether that happens in an offshore team. Now, straight up, we've got up the top people that require a follow up. So, I can see that in the last 48 hours, there's 3 applications that have come in without a status change. Now, good indicator if you guys have an expectation around that first response to an application, if you have an expectation on your review time, I might go to Sally, hey, Sally, look, it's been 2 business days. Can you get on these applications? They're all for 10 Clarendon Street. That property's been on the market for 15 days. Let's get and review those. Can also see apps that are more than 5 days old. So starting to flag to me, all right, well, have these been reviewed? Have these been moved off? Are they suitable? Are we waiting for anything? Got my KPIs as well. So in the last 7 days, how many have been approved? How many have been rejected? And if you're seeing these numbers are moving continuously, apps without change of status, apps that are more than 5 days old should be going down. Can also have a look at how long applications have been sitting in status. So you can see that a lot of my applications aren't being processed effectively. I can see that there's a few being rejected, that they're not moving forward quite comfortably there. Can also have a look at where are my successful applications coming from. So are they from inspections? Are they from us using Find Me? Are they from our to apply link? So really good to see where am I getting those high quality tenants from. And we can just see a summary down the bottom. How many new apps in the last 7 days, last 24 hours, etc. So really good little tool. See how things are moving. See if we've got some momentum in our department and if we've got some reports that are telling me, like mine are, that my properties have been on the market for a while and my applications aren't moving, really good indicator that I should then be going and working through what are our processes, what are our expectations, why aren't we engaging in the platform, and if we are doing all of this, we need to clean up our system too. Alrighty, so key ones for applications is your applications application report. Just a note as well, if you are using NTDs in the system, you can do some NTD reporting. In lettings, daily schedule, really great tool if not already set up for your inspectors or your property managers to see what inspections are being run. On off list, you should be auditing this, making sure your team are correctly processing the on and the off list. Vacancy history. So, how many properties are on market? How long have they been on market? How much rent and potential income is the business losing? And then, of course, our boss reports there. Now, last little one I will talk through, and this is a tip for the bosses, is you can see what your users are doing in the system. So, if like me, you're seeing really low engagement, or you're starting to see some things that you're going, oh, this is a bit odd. People are logging into the system at odd times, odd things are happening, this isn't following our process. That's when you can come into your settings menu, your admin, and to user activity. Now, if I just pop over to my user activity log, this is showing me who is doing what and when. So today at 9:49 a.m., Tash was looking at the calendar and she was starting to authorize a calendar sync. Now I can see any additional info, I can see which users are being doing it, I can even see the IP address. So really good if you want to see, okay, well, who's doing what in the system? Why have certain things happened? I'll just flip to all here. Who's been doing it and how? So really good tool if you want to keep track of who is using the system and when. And you can also set that up to send. So user activity report, I can send that out if I want to do a bit of a deep dive. Okay, so just coming back to our chat here, looks like things are nice and quiet. So I will take it back to our slides here. So just calling out that your reports are really useful in Inspect Real Estate. So you can view reports or you can set them up to automatically send. A key tip is to have the reports that are beneficial for your team meetings or your one-on-ones or your day-to-day activity set to automatically send within that time frame. So if I have a team meeting every Monday at 10 a.m., I might get that report sent to me Friday afternoon or Monday morning, 8 a.m., so I can review it, print it, have it in that meeting. If I'm wanting to keep track of what work I am doing and the status of my leads, I might choose to have that leads report or the contact report sent to me every Friday. As I'm doing my weekly wrap, I can just tick across, go, yep, I've got all my leads, got all my follow-up dates, we're good to go for the next week. Really handy to do, really good tools. And just remember that reporting as well is all about action. So if you're looking at reports and reports are telling you things aren't happening in the system, time on market is stretching out, I don't seem to be having any contacts being made in the system, this is where you start to dig further. So is it a performance issue in that my team don't know what to do? Do they not know how to use the system correctly? Do they not know the processes that we have? Do they not know my expectations? Or is it more of a behavioral problem? Do they know and just don't care? Which we, of course, don't think about, but it does happen. So, using these reports, you can get really good insight around what's happening, and they can be used as action tools as well. Now, that brings us to the end of our reporting webinar. So, before we wrap up today, just want to have a little chat to everyone about who we are as Reapit. I know you probably see it around. I'm wearing a Reapit t-shirt. Reapit is Australia's prop tech provider, or one of them, I should say. Now, we provide multiple solutions for agencies end to end. So, Inspect Real Estate, one of our solutions alongside Console and Move Me In, that are designed to support our property management clients. Our Agent Box Digital are designed to support our sales clients. Now, as we get more and more integrated, these products talk more and more together. So our applications and our letting talk to console. Our Move Me In allows us to automatically refer new tenants and prospective tenants to get their connections set up. So we're a bit of an ecosystem of products all sitting under Reapit. Now, like I mentioned, that's it for today's webinar. Just going to throw a little survey into the chat. We do like to hear from you guys and hear your thoughts on today's session. If you have any feedback, throw it in. If you'd like to hear more from us, absolutely pop it in the survey. We do have some more upcoming webinars and training available for you. And if I just pop back to our account here, just under help, I will call out we have recently updated and released Reapit Academy. Now, in the Academy here, this is where you can access all of your content and all of your training across all of our products. So popping down to our content library, you can see that I have to apply in applications, I have console training, I have Move Me In training all available to me. So jump in, really good tool, can keep track of what I've completed. I can get my certificates, I can share it on socials. And as embarrassing as it might be, it looks like I am coming very much last in terms of where I am in the leaderboard. So really good tool for learning. And I will also call out we have our knowledge base and our webinars available for us. So with that, that comes to the end of today's session. Thank you all for attending. Really appreciate it. Any last questions, throw them into the chat box and we'll see you at an upcoming webinar. Thanks very much.